They ran from their own home, leaving almost everything behind. But something still followed. It didn't want them dead, it wanted them crushed. It whispered their names, threw their possessions across the room, burned their Bibles. This isn't folklore. It was investigated by priests, parapsychologists, and even the BBC. This is the Heol Fanog case. Heol Fanog, a stone farmhouse in rural Wales, wind-beaten, isolated, and quiet. The kind of place they thought would bring peace. But locals said the house had been built using stones taken from Cefn Gorwith Manor, long gone, but rumoured to sit atop forgotten graves. One old builder reportedly warned them that house was never meant to be raised again. Strange stories had circled the area for years. Their peace wouldn't last. It started with footsteps, not creaks, not groans, not the usual sound of an old farmhouse. These were booted footsteps, heavy, measured, striding down the stairs towards Liz Ridge, and stopped just before the final step. She'd been on the phone, and she froze mid-sentence, because no one else was upstairs. No wind, no pets, just her, and whatever had just charged down towards her. Bill and Liz Ridge moved in during 1989. They had a baby on the way, a new life, and a studio for Bill's art. It was meant to be quiet. It wasn't. Within weeks, doors were slamming shut without warning. The rooms were swinging from ice cold to oven hot. And then came the smells. Burst sulphur, thick and rotting. Then incense, sweet, church-like. Both appeared without warning, then gone. It was as if something was moving through the house, leaving traces behind. Then their electricity bill exploded. £750 in only 3 months. In 1990, the power company sent engineers. They rewired the whole house, changed meters, and still the meter would spin wildly when no appliances were on, even when the house was empty. The technician wrote back that the spikes were real, but offered no cause. One engineer described it as if something was drawing energy out of the walls. Even when every socket was dead, the meters spun. That's when the noises escalated. Footsteps, again, but this time 2 sets. One heavy, boots, the other soft, like slippers, dragging. And they were getting closer. Bill Ridge was a working artist. He didn't believe in ghosts. But belief didn't matter, because something inside the house had started to work on their son. It wasn't just targeting the house anymore, it was inside them now. Lawrence, 14 years old, kind, polite. Then, without warning, something else surfaced. The boy grew angry, hostile. He cursed his father, spat in his face, screamed obscenities with no warning, and one night, Bill swore the face looking back at him wasn't his son. It was Lawrence, but only in shape. He said the boy looked different. His eyes were wrong. His expression wasn't confused or afraid. It was calm, cold, ancient. The skin on his face looked paler than usual, drawn. It wasn't rage. It wasn't grief. It was confident. It was watching. Then it smiled at him. For a moment, just a sudden flash, he felt like it knew it could be seen. That night, the boy's bedroom lights flickered and died. The next morning, Lawrence didn't remember the encounter, but Bill never forgot it. He said it was the moment he knew whatever was in the house, it wasn't just taking things, it was trying things on to see what fit. Reverend David Holmwood, a Baptist minister who investigated the house, believed Lawrence was the focus, that the house was feeding on him, or through him. One priest warned them it wasn't just a spirit, but a territorial intelligence, something ancient, something that remembered being worshipped. The family made a terrible decision. They sent Lawrence to boarding school, and the house went quiet. For the first time in months, there was silence. No footsteps, no whispers, no electrical spikes. Liz said she felt something closed its eyes, like something inside had gone to sleep for a while. In the silence, Liz said the house felt hungry, waiting for someone to return. And what it did next was worse than anything before. It didn't just haunt, it learned, it adapted, and it made them question everything, even themselves. But whatever lurked there had only just begun. Liz began waking with scratches she couldn't explain, thin red welts across her arms and back. Bruises appeared where nothing had touched her. She started sleeping less, afraid of what she might wake up to. She said something watched her as she slept, leant over her, waiting. Then one afternoon in the kitchen, she collapsed. No warning, just fell. When she came to, she was on the floor. Bill was standing there, pale, shaking. He said she'd spoken while unconscious, but it hadn't been her voice. It was deep, male, mocking. He said it laughed, and then it spoke. "I know who you are. You can't stop me. This is my house." She had no memory of it. The next morning they found the Bible on their nightstand, blackened. The cover was scorched, the pages were warped, but nothing else in the room had burnt. The same week, their baby monitor clicked on in the middle of the night. Static, then breathing. "I'm already here." It wasn't threatening anymore. It was introducing itself. And now it wasn't just attacking them, it started showing itself to their child. A figure, 7 feet tall, cloaked, faceless, always at the end of the hall, or beside the bed, or in the corner. The richest toddler began saying, "There's a man in the room." Then the animals started dying. A goat, chickens, their dog, healthy one day, dead the next. Some of the animals had broken necks. No predators were near the barn. The surviving animals refused to go into the barn. One goat smashed its own skull trying to flee an empty stall. Their sheepdog was found curled up in the barn, eyes wide open, as if it had died, frozen in place. No wounds, no poison, just terror. Whatever this was, it wasn't just a presence. It was cruel, calculated, intelligent. They tried priests, they tried science. Nothing held it back for long, so they turned to the last thing they hadn't yet tried. Deeper ritual, one to cast it out and protect the family. A priest from Brecon Cathedral blessed the house. A few weeks later, the activity returned, stronger. The Anglican Reverend Roy Matthews visited next. He claimed to detect 4 presences, 2 young men, an old woman, and something else. He exorcised the house, and again it worked for 3 months. Then it came back. The final help came from Eddie Burks, a psychic investigator who'd worked cases at the Tower of London, Farmhouse, and the Royal Albert Hall. But even he hesitated. He said this one wasn't like the others. Burks had seen hauntings before, but this time he said what the family was facing wasn't a ghost. It was older, a pre-Christian entity, something tied to the land. Burks believed it had been summoned centuries ago and never dismissed. He performed his ritual. Liz reported the entire house seemed to tighten. A tape recorder not plugged in exploded with sound, and then it was gone. But the relief didn't last long. Something felt different, not safer, just quiet. Liz said it was like the house had exhaled, like it was licking its wounds before coming back stronger. This was the 6th attempt to cast it out, and they knew this was the time to leave while they still had a chance. The Riches moved out the next day. But peace came at a cost. Bill's health declined. He began drinking. His artwork grew darker. Brides covered in blood, dead eyes, symbols he said he didn't recognize. He died before the haunting was widely told. In 1996, journalist Mark Chadbourne documented the case in his book Testimony. And decades later, the BBC turned their investigation into a full-blown audio drama, The Witch Farm. But even their team said parts of the story felt unfinished. And Liz Rich finally said it plainly. Didn't want to scare us. It wanted to ruin us. But the house was never the problem. What if belief was the doorway? 15 years before Heol Fanog and across the Atlantic, a group of researchers invented a ghost, gave them a name, a past, and a portrait. He wasn't real. Then, in the name of science, they tried to summon him in a séance. And something answered. But it wasn't the ghost they'd created. It had broken loose, from fiction into reality. Click the card for the strangest science experiment I've ever heard. And if you're still here, you're part of the archive now. And if you want to keep unearthing the things we weren't meant to find, please subscribe. It helps more than you know, and I'm genuinely grateful. I'm Nico, and I'll meet you in the next mystery.